healthy again. As soon as I make a couple of cheaters pay for blowing up my life.
There were a number of times when you or a member of your family needed a favor. This is a situation where you owe me one. Have a nice rest of your day.
It sounds like someone deliberately tried to hurt you.
Sounds like attempted murder.
Can't imagine how terrified you must have been.
I found out who did this.
I love you, Derek.
For one night, let me remind you who you still are.
I fell in love with an inconvenient man.
Now you have to deal with the inconvenient consequences. You see how that works?
You couldn't possibly hurt me more than you already have.
Don't try me.
We've got a problem. Protecting the family is our priority.
Agreed.
She turned and left, the click of her heels on the marble floor echoing like a judge's gavel. Diego sank back into his chair, the weight of his new reality crushing him. He was no longer just an ex-husband living with regret. He was an employee, his career, his passion, now subject to the approval of the woman whose heart he had shattered. The battle for his future would not be fought in the pages of his magazine, but in the cold, unforgiving space between his desk and hers. The ripple effect, alliances and anxieties. These two central power struggles sent shockwaves through the interconnected lives of those orbiting the Forrester and Avant spheres. At the Forrester mansion, Ridge listened to a report of Pamela's glad-handing with a mixture of pride and paternal concern. He admired his daughter's fire, her unshakable loyalty to her brother. But a part of him, the part that still saw the company as his birthright and his responsibility, wondered if this fervent campaign was building Thomas up for a greater fall. He watched Brooke, who was beaming with maternal pride at Pamela's prowess, and kept his reservations to himself. A schism was forming, not between father and son, but between the old guard and the new, with Pamela as the passionate, and perhaps reckless, standard-bearer for the latter. Meanwhile, Hope Logan Forrester found herself in a delicate position. Her unwavering support for Thomas was the bedrock of his newfound stability, yet she watched Pamela's very public, very aggressive campaign with a knot of anxiety in her stomach. Over a quiet cup of tea, she confided in her mother. "I believe in him, Mom." "I do," Hope said, her fingers tracing the rim of her cup. "But the way Pamela is going about it, it feels like she's painting a target on his back. What if she pushes too hard? What if the board rebels, just to prove they can't be swayed by a charm offensive?" Brooke, ever the optimist, squeezed her daughter's hand. "Pamela is a force of nature, honey. And right now, Thomas needs that force. Have faith. Your love is his anchor. Pamela is just his sail." Elsewhere, the Avant drama had its own witnesses. Jules, Diego's longtime friend and colleague at the magazine, watched the interaction between him and Vanessa with a growing sense of dread. "She's going to destroy him, piece by piece," he lamented to his wife over dinner. "And she's going to do it with a smile and a spreadsheet. It's the most brutal corporate execution I've ever seen." And at a dimly lit bar, Vanessa herself met with a confidant, her corporate mask finally slipping for just a moment. "It's harder than I thought," she admitted, swirling the ice in her glass. "Seeing him every day having to be that cold. But he needs to understand. This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. In life and in business. Beyond the boardroom, the human cost." As the sun dipped below the Pacific horizon, casting Los Angeles in a palette of deep oranges and purples, the true weight of the day settled in. For Thomas, the victory of Pamela's support was tempered by the immense pressure it created. The higher she built him up, the farther he had to fall. His success was no longer just his own. It was a validation of his sister's faith, a justification for her war. For Pamela, the cost was her own identity. In becoming Thomas's chief defender and strategist, was she sublimating her own ambitions? The fire in her eyes was for his throne, but a quiet, unspoken question lingered. When would she want a crown of her own? But the most profound cost was borne by Diego and Vanessa. Their relationship, a complex tapestry of love, betrayal, and regret, had been violently ripped from the realm of the personal and thrust into the professional. Every directive from Vanessa was a painful reminder of their shared history. Every resentful glance from Diego was a confirmation of her newfound power. They were trapped in a cruel dance, where the boardroom was their ballroom and corporate policy was their music. The question was no longer if they could reconcile their past, but whether they could survive their present without destroying each other completely. The 4th of November was not a day of explosions, but of tectonic shifts. The ground beneath Forrester Creations and Avant Publications had moved irrevocably. Alliances were forged in the fires of ambition, and personal histories were weaponized in the pursuit of power. As the city lights began to twinkle like a field of fallen stars, one truth became self-evident. In the world of high fashion and high stakes, the most dangerous designs are not the ones that walk the runway, but the ones woven in the silent, strategic corners of the human heart. The gates had closed on another day, but the battles had only just begun. The last few seconds of the new BTG spoiler clip take place at the Fairmont Crest Country Club. Vanessa and Joey are seated when a club member approaches. Joey is then heard saying, "No, I had him killed so I could have his wife all to myself." Vanessa looks shocked at first, then seems to wonder whether he may have just explained what actually happened to her husband. Next week on Beyond the Gates, expect heartbreak, revelations, and plenty of pearl clutching. As pasts resurface and secrets unravel, one schemer in particular shakes things up for everyone. Next week on Beyond the Gates, things are about to get bumpier, rougher, more dramatic, and action-packed. Expect reality checks, secret meetings, damaging declarations, and heartbreaking revelations. Andre opens up to Danny about his painful past. Eva's dad news drives a deeper wedge between Kat and Ted. And Vanessa turns pot stirrer. She gains control of one of Joey's prized possessions one day. And then the next, she causes a stir at the country club. Does this mean there will be pearl clutching the week of November 3rd to 7th? Anita, Tamara Tunie, is completely overwhelmed, while Vernon, Clifton Davis, has a secret rendezvous. Derek, Ben Gavin, asks Shanice, Ernestine Johnson, for a favor but gets a reality check instead. Eva, Amber Michele, has a major update for Leslie, Trisha Mangrant, where Ted Keith D. Robinson is concerned. Naomi, Ariel Prepetit, takes her frustrations out on those closest to her. Bill, Timon Kyle Durrett, makes it clear to his ex where his allegiance lies. Jacob, Jiber Horges, seeks expert help from Nicole. Haley, Marquita Goings, and Randy Maurice P. Carey deal with a precarious situation. Vanessa, Lauren Buglioli, gains control of one of Joey's, John Lindstrom, prized possessions. Both Buglioli and Lindstrom are BTG's October 2025 Performers of the Month. Pamela, Katie McLean presses Andre, Sean Freeman for answers. Wednesday, November 5th, episode number 166. Ashley, Jen Jacob, makes a stunning discovery. Nicole, Daphnee Duplaix, extends an unexpected olive branch to Ted. Danny, Karla Mosley, and Andre discuss his painful past. Leslie thinks it's only a matter of time before she and Eva are a family of three. Joey has a surprising reunion with an old pal. Someone's deceit causes heartbreak for two couples. Another duo deepens their relationship. Vanessa's new endeavor causes a stir at the country club. Friday, November 7th, episode number 168. Samantha, Nudja Jackson, pleads with Smitty, Mike Manning, who revealed a BTG Easter egg this week, and Nicole for help. Martin, Brandon Claiborne, and Kat, Colby Muhammad, have a blowout argument. Shanice stirs the pot with Ted. Eva's declaration drives a deeper wedge between her father and sister.